Greetings, giving thanks. It's a wonderful day here in Florida. Reporting for you, the headline Ross Reports. I got a couple things on the agenda this morning that I wanted to talk about. Number one is this idea of nationalism. I'm trying to slowly get away from pointing fingers at countries as being the culprit of the world's problems, because it's actually big business and big capital that's behind the world's problems. And in the news we often hear, oh, China is versus the, China's going here and Germany's doing this and the US is doing this. And being here from the United States, I can tell you that these guys that make the laws, that enforce the laws, just take orders, and they have to be taking orders from somewhere. So we are an enemy of sin, and we are going to be targeting those at the top of the tower that are giving the orders. The Rothschilds, the Warburgs, Whitneys, all this old money that's still being used today to control us. They've gained access to all the land. They control the supply chain. And when you control the supply chain, you control everything. And it wasn't easy for them to get to this point, but now that they've got to this point, it's pretty easy for them to manipulate everything. And we have to break away from this. You see 200,000 people dead in Syria when you probably could have just killed 1 or 2 people and never had the 998,000 people had to die. But that was the plan. I believe it's the plan. There's people that are all upset now because the people are making connections with the United States and with this group ISIS. Well, for one, again, let's look at ISIS like we're going to do Nationality. The ISIS group doesn't exist. They're all split up. They don't call each other ISIS. The media has made that term up. And we won't get into Syria today, but a lot of these these groups are just made up names. They have Arabic terms, they have English terms, and the idea was to draw in as many foreign forces as you could. So we need to look at that and say, like who's behind the scenes. Always who's behind the scenes. Let's get down to it. I know that the conventional and non-conventional media is afraid to mention anybody's name. They always throw around Walmart, the real safe examples that they want to give you. But when it comes down to actually throwing out names of people, individuals, for some reason people are afraid to do that. And you don't have to have evidence. When you see some buildings collapse, when you see them collapse demolition style, and you have thousands of architects and engineers telling you, hey, something ain't right, you don't really have, I don't believe you have to have any evidence. Because like this, let's say I walk outside and I got a jacket on. Then I walk out and my neighbor's like, hey, how you doing? Then I walk out a minute later and I don't have a jacket. My neighbor's like, hey, how you doing? I thought you were just wearing a jacket. And he said, no, I wasn't wearing a jacket. The guy saw you with your jacket on. Now, he might not be able to prove it because you don't have a video, you don't have, another witness, but he saw you with your jacket on. And in the same way, this 9/11 Commission covered up the evidence. And we still uncovered whatever evidence we could find, but yet they covered it up. And what about the situation with bin Laden? They released him, they had him, and they released him. And this is common knowledge. And yet we seem to want to be, let's turn our attention away from that. And it's fine and dandy for those people that are going to live 10, 15, maybe 20 more years, but how about the rest of us that are actually going to inherit the earth? Do you think we might want to have some kind of say in this? And the answer is yes, we absolutely do.